Across America, the backlash against AI data centers is turning into open confrontation. In one Maryland county, supporters and opponents faced off in dueling protests outside the government building. From a courtroom showdown in Kentucky, to a record-breaking strain on the power grid, to an oil giant agreeing to burn gas for a Microsoft supercomputer. Here's what's unfolding right now. It's becoming one of the most visible flashpoints in the country, and this week it played out on the streets of Largo, Maryland. Dozens of residents rallied outside the Wayne K. Curry administration building in Prince George's County, demanding leaders halt the permitting and construction of new data centers. But this time they weren't alone. A group of counter-protesters in matching orange shirts and hats showed up to defend the facilities and the jobs they promise. Council Chair Krystal Oriadha confirmed a vote on a 2-year moratorium is coming next week. Yet many in the crowd said a temporary pause doesn't go nearly far enough. What they want, they told reporters, is not a moratorium at all, but a permanent ban. That grassroots anger is increasingly ending up in front of a judge. In Cave City, Kentucky, the local fight has become a full-blown legal battle. After the city council passed a data center moratorium in May, the Kentucky Industrial Alliance sued, arguing the pause was unreasonable and that the council failed to justify why it was even necessary. But this week, the city's attorneys fired back in Barren Circuit Court, filing a motion to dismiss the case outright. They argue the alliance has no legal standing to sue, and that it submitted what they called a woefully incomplete application to the Planning Commission. In the first place, it's a small-town clash with outsized implications, as communities across the country test just how far local governments can legally go to keep data centers out. And the reason these communities are so anxious came roaring into view this week, in the form of a number on a grid operator's screen. As a brutal heat wave gripped the eastern United States, PJM, the nation's largest grid operator, forecast that electricity demand would climb toward 166,000 megawatts, threatening to break an all-time summer record that has stood since 2006. On the ground, the strain was immediate. Utility company ComEd warned customers across Chicago's west side and its western and southwestern suburbs that the local grid had reached what it called a critical level. With AI data centers piling new, round-the-clock demand onto an aging system, moments like this are becoming the new normal, a warning of the summers to come as the AI build-out accelerates. So how do you feed that bottomless appetite for power? One of the biggest players just gave a startling answer. Burn natural gas. And lots of it. Oil giant Chevron has signed a 20-year agreement to supply electricity to a massive Microsoft data center campus near Pecos, in West Texas. The project, known as Project Kilby, pairs the AI campus with a co-located gas power plant capable of generating about 2.67 gigawatts. One of the largest such deals ever struck between a U.S. oil major and a technology company. Chevron says most of that power will come from gas turbines built by GE Vernova, with a final investment decision expected by year's end and first electricity targeted for 2028. It's a vivid sign that the AI boom is now reshaping not just the tech industry, but the energy business itself. The strain on the power grid is only half the story. Water tells the other half. A sweeping new analysis found that about 2/3 of the more than 800 AI data centers now planned across the United States are slated for land that has been gripped by drought over the past year. That's more than 500 thirsty facilities heading straight for regions that can least afford to share their water. In Georgia, where the entire state is now facing severe to exceptional drought and wildfires are burning in the south, the concern is especially acute. A single large data center can consume up to 1 billion gallons of water a year. Little wonder that 36 states are now weighing new rules to force these facilities to disclose and limit exactly how much water they draw. State lawmakers are no longer just talking. A wave of new laws took effect this week. As of the first of the month, Florida now bars utilities from passing data center costs onto residential and small business customers, requiring the largest users to pay their full cost of service. The same day, Arizona began a 3-year freeze on its data center sales tax exemption. And Illinois paused its own tax incentives for the industry. Virginia, meanwhile, started charging data centers a new consumption tax on every kilowatt hour they use. Taken together, it marks a decisive turn. After years of showering these projects with generous incentives to lure them in, states are now moving just as aggressively to rein them in and shield ordinary ratepayers from the soaring costs. Yet even amid that regulatory crackdown, the cranes keep rising. This week, Microsoft broke ground on a brand new data center in LaPorte, Indiana, and paired the announcement with something unusual. Alongside the construction, the company launched the state's very first Microsoft Data Center Academy, in partnership with Ivy Tech Community College, aimed at training local residents to fill the technical jobs these facilities create. It's a deliberate strategy. As opposition mounts nationwide over power bills and water, Microsoft is betting that visible local investment, in classrooms as well as in concrete, can help win over the very communities that so often push back. For LaPorte, it's a promise of good-paying jobs. For the broader industry, it's a template for diffusing a fast-growing backlash. And behind every one of these projects is a torrent of money that just keeps rising. This week, Las Vegas-based data center giant Switch kicked off a private funding round led by the venture capital powerhouse Andreessen Horowitz, aiming to raise about $2 billion. The round would value Switch at nearly $50 billion including debt. A staggering leap from the $11 billion it was worth when investors took it private back in 2022. Andreessen Horowitz alone is committing $400 million, and the company has hired JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs as it prepares for a possible public offering as soon as next year. With marquee clients like Nvidia, Google, and Tesla, Switch is a reminder that for all the fights unfolding on the ground, Wall Street still sees data centers as one of the hottest assets on Earth. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It helps us cover more of these stories.